I think when you go elsewhere, Indonesia, for example, which is really Southeast Asia, or into China, someplace like Hong Kong, or even Malaysia, you have a very different environment. It's a little bit more wide open. It's not as controlled, okay? And so the matter of interreligious relations becomes more a matter of politeness than law, right? It's how can I get along with my neighbors, more than just this is what the government says is possible. But you also get areas, and I think when you get into China, there's still some religious oppression in China, for sure. And I'm sure it's opened up a good deal for Christians from what it once was, but it's still problematic in the provinces. We were in Xi'an in China last year and visited the great mosque of Xi'an at the end of the Silk Road. And very quietly, the Muslim community in Xi'an will tell you that it's still not easy to be a Muslim in China. In fact, I was at a Buddhist-Muslim dialogue conference in Beijing 3 years ago. And again, nobody would say anything publicly, but if you just sat at dinner, if you went over to the halal table, it was interesting because there were 3 sets of tables. There was the meat-eating, non-halal table for Westerners, then there was the all-vegetarian table for the Buddhists, and then there was the halal table for the Muslims. And if you went over and sat at the halal table, well, you had to give up beer, but you got some very interesting conversation. And sort of quietly saying, yeah, it's not easy for us. So there you have real political oppression, I think. Does that help? Does that answer your question? Okay. Thanks. Any other comments? I don't want to. Yes, please.
We are taking our time, but
No.
when we look at the U.S. today, we see that actually the greatest increase in the number is not in a religion, but rather disbelief.
Yes.
Atheism seems to be number of people subscribing to that is increasing, and we can see that new generation seems to less care about dark work, things that we talk, or the light is and there be even a substantial need for religions, all religions, rather than talking, dialogue, speaking on the food, even getting closer in the future. Creating common projects.
Yes.
Having similar common councils, and reacting or acting together for the challenges.
I think you're absolutely right. That is actually, and let me repeat what you said actually. Is it possible that in the world in which increasingly young people especially don't have any religious faith at all, that religious people really need to be working together and making, in a sense, what we would say in Christianity, a good witness to these people who have no faith. So that we have more common projects, not just dialogue, but really working together on things of common concern. And my answer is absolutely yes. Let me say a couple of things about that. One is that observation is a relatively old story. There's a journal that you may be aware of called The Muslim World. It was originally published starting in about 1910. A man named Samuel Zlamer, who was a pioneer Christian missionary in Arabia, really, wrote it as a journal for missionaries working with Muslims. Now, over a period of about 25 years, it increasingly became an academic journal concerned with Christian-Muslim relations. So by the 1930s, it was not so much a missionary magazine as it was an academic journal, and there were an equal number of Christian and Muslim writers writing for it. But I remember very well, 1934, I believe, the then editor of the journal, Duncan Black MacDonald, wrote an editorial, and he said, in this world which we live in, it is so irreligious that what religious people need to do is get together and assert the value of belief in God for a world that just doesn't believe in God at all. That we can't afford to fight with each other, in a sense, in a disbelieving world. We need to work with each other. So that's, in a sense, an old story. Now, on the other hand, it's new because that kind of language didn't make a lot of sense to people in the United States when the United States was still at least nominally 90 or 95% Christian. right? What do you mean work with people of other faiths? Nobody knew anybody of other faiths, right? But I'll say this, this is editorializing a little bit, if I can step out of my academic role. I think one reason that Christianity, at least, is hard for some young people to take seriously is because Christians have fought among themselves so much. People say, what do you want me to believe when you don't know you and 3 other Christians all disagree about what you believe? Right? Now, honestly speaking, that's not just a Christian problem, though. Almost all religions have these divisions, and young people look at the divisions and say, you guys aren't even on good terms with each other. Why should I join you? Right? And so we do need some concrete witness that we do believe in some things, that we agree on some things, that we human beings ought to be treated decently, that is God's will. People should have food and shelter, right? That's God's will. We can agree on that and work together on it. And there are some remarkable projects. One that has a more or less here in Dallas, Christian impetus, is something that's just developing called the Interfaith Service Network out of the Misconceptions Foundation. But the real pioneer in this is Ibu Patel in Chicago with the Interfaith Youth Corps. That really, we would use the word evangelistic. He takes young people who may not have very many religious commitments, and they all together work and learn that people who are religious can work together. In this case, primarily Muslims and Christians, but also Jews and others. But you're absolutely right. Okay. Questions? Turn it over to you. Thank you.
Before turning off the mic, I would like to invite Imam Yeşil to present Dr. Hunt with a plaque as a sign of our appreciation for his beautiful speech.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Let's try to read Muslim poet Yunus Emre.
Yunus Emre.
Yeah, come, let us all be friends for once. Let us make life easy on us. Let us be lovers and loved ones. The earth shall be left to no ones. Yunus Emre.
Thank you.